What's going on, traders? John with Tactical Trading here with a new series on the channel. We're going to call this Tactical Tuesday. This is going to be, I would like to have it every Tuesday, but unfortunately it's just probably not feasible with my schedule. So I'm going to try to get this out every other Tuesday. This is not going to be something where we're talking about any particular play or talking about any particular stock. What we're going to be doing here is talking about different strategies, different ways to look at the market previews and reviews and things of that nature, getting us ready to tackle this market. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about trading psychology and mindset. Now, before we do get into this, obviously, I am not a financial advisor. Anything I say on this channel is my opinion and should not be used for financial advice. This is, again, my opinion and just basically talking through my experience and what I know for my years in the market. So, again, this week we're going to be talking about trading psychology and mindset. Now, if I can give you two major reasons why failure is the most achieved result in this business, why do so many traders wind up blowing up multiple accounts and ultimately quitting this little thing of ours? While there are many reasons, I believe greed and Fomo are two of the major account killers that we deal with, that if not overcome will surely lead you to the exit doors quickly. Looking for or expecting a home run on every trade is one of the most unrealistic expectations to have, yet it's a problem that I see quite often in this business, especially here in the OTC. You got to understand that we do trade the OTC, and companies that trade here on the pink sheets and the OTC, for the most part, typically they belong here. Most will never get to a higher exchange or uplist to a higher exchange. And by most not making it, I mean probably about 99% of them. That does not mean that this isn't the best place to turn a modest account into life-changing money. I still believe the opportunities exist in the OTC. You just have to temper your expectations. I would say set a good construct of rules and follow those rules. Now, let's talk a little bit about greed and how to set rules in order to deactivate this destructive mindset. No one likes when you're counting. Let's put it this way. It's a big mistake to count unbooked profits. And it sucks to have a bunch of, a big amount of unbooked profits just to watch them dissolve before your eyes. I'd say one way to protect against this is to have set limits to automatically take profits. Let's say 15%, 25%, 30%, whatever it may be. And this is something I would definitely suggest for the more inexperienced traders. Obviously, learning technical analysis is by far the most effective and prudent action that should be taken, so you can chart your entries, chart your exits, and be prudent while you're doing that. But while learning, having a set percentage to take profits will help tremendously. Personally, I look for resistance levels to start trimming profits. And obviously, depending on multiple factors such as news, the DD, share structure, management track record, the technicals, I determine if the security is a quick trade, a short swing, or if it's a longer swing. Typically in the OTC, long-term holds come few and far between. And I say that quite often. Very few are long-term holds. Always having my first objective, as I always say, is getting my initial investment out on the trade. So I'm working with house money. Now, let me give you an example. We're going to use CYBL from last June. And I'm just going to use a simple, just a simple round number. Let's just say we buy 1 million shares in June at a half a penny when we initially called out CYBL. Now, something like this, if you were to, let's say when this thing ran up to 1.5 pennies, because this is something I was ultra confident in, but when this thing ran to 1.5 pennies, you sell 250,000 of the shares, you almost have your money out of it, because you talk about having 5,000 in. If you take 250,000 shares off the table at 1.5 pennies, you're almost there. And then again, when it ran up to 1.5 pennies, it pulled down almost back to a penny, about penny 2, penny 1, something of that nature. And I know I took profits at 0.014 and took 250,000 shares. So let's just say that leaves you with 500,000 shares. It goes back down to a penny, but you're working with house money. Then you don't really worry about how this thing's trading if you're ultra confident in it. And again, this thing ran to 6.5 cents. So then you got 500,000 shares to ride all the way up. And even if you sold it at 3 or 4, you're still looking really good. Excuse me for 1 second. So something like that you always want to make sure you're getting your profits out. I mean, that's really the only way getting your initial investment out to be able to work on another security or work on another trade. That's the only way to really assure yourself of not giving away your profits. And for a newer trader, again, as I suggested, maybe having a percentage. At 25%, you cut 30% of your shares. At 50%, you cut another 30%, leave yourself with 40 if you're ultra confident. If not, you cut the whole damn thing and you move on to the next one. So you got to have set parameters. I mean, this is the same thing I used with UCPA just a few weeks back. DUTV, another one that I absolutely love. And these are my two of my favorite plays going over the next couple months. And that's these are plays that I made sure that I got in at a nice, when I saw them, I got in. And then as soon as we had our run, I took some profits out, and then you can make your decision whether you want to buy more when it dips, because then you can actually add a larger position, or have the same size position and have some profits on the side to work. So you always want to do that. And setting rules like that are going to pretty much diffuse greed. Now, the one that really hurts people is FOMO, the fear of missing out. Now, no one likes missing out on a good time, especially when it seems like everyone else is having a blast and you're outside looking in through the window. But the key word I want to focus on is fear. And what is fear? Now, fear can be described as an anxiety that happens naturally when we perceive something as a threat. And that causes our brains to respond by going into a flight or fight mode. Now, our brains at that moment are now primed and pumped, ready to respond with action. And that is absolutely, responding for action in anticipation of an emergency. That's no way to be when you're sitting in front of your computer now. In those situations, blood flows from the thinking and reasoning areas of the brain, and they go to the impulse or reaction parts of the brain. This is not what you want while you're trading. You want no impulse or reaction. You want to be able to think things through. Now, if you have someone kicking in your window at 2:30 in the morning, that's a perfect response. That's a very natural and a very appropriate response for those, for that time, but not sitting in front of your trading screens making trades. In fact, that's at the absolute antithesis of what you want to be doing while you're trading. So what do we do to avoid this naturally reoccurring emotion from affecting our decisions while we're working? Well, first, we need to understand that emotions need to be kept in check. They have to be minimized to the best of our ability. We must also understand that it is impossible to trade everything. Missing out on runs on plays that we never had on our radar is going to happen often. Sometimes even missing a big move on something that we have been watching is going to happen. Constantly reminding ourselves that this is going to happen and it's okay. And understanding that, understanding that there is always another play, it goes a long way in stopping with FOMO. Now, understanding these things helps, but it does not completely stop the FOMO. Some techniques that I use to combat fear of missing out is obviously one of the best things is backing away from the computer screen, taking deep breaths. This helps naturally in slowing down your thought and slowing everything down. I would say anything you do to induce natural relaxation. For me, prayer. For others, it could be taking deep breaths. It could be visualization, meditation, etc. You need to remind yourself, it's not an emergency. You need to take a step back and really realize if you see something running and this thing's overbought already, why would you jump in? You're most likely just going to get bagged. So something you're going to miss out on runs, and I would say 8 out of 10 times when you don't jump in on FOMO, it's going to work out for you. Sometimes it's just going to keep running, and you're going to say, "Damn, I should have bought it," but that's not how it always works. Now, repetition creates habit. You have to train yourself to behave properly under pressure or distress. Create an anxiety hierarchy. Low degree to high degree threats. Now we can all decipher for ourselves what threat anxieties are. Low degree threats would definitely consist of missing out on a trade. That's a low degree threat. So you need to know this and repeat this to yourself. Again, repetition. Practice these diffusion methods or whatever others you can think of to condition yourself to behave like a professional to the utmost degree. Training yourself to operate consistently without panic. Again, be a pro. Like one doctor or a psychologist, I can't remember if it was a doctor or psychologist, I once heard say, he says, don't beat yourself up, get better, but use hate. And I never like to use hate in certain situations, but you can use hate in this situation. Hate bad patterns, hate bad setups, hate bad feelings, and most of all, hate bad consequences. Hate bad consequences. Hate them so much that you demand change. So basically, the bottom line is you wanna construct a set of rules where you're taking profits and trying to get your initial investment out. This way you're not giving away unrealized gains. You may give some away in the little portion that you hung on to, but if you're ultra confident, odds are that thing's either going to work out or you're just going to end up cutting it later. And FOMO is your worst enemy, especially in this market. So, I'm not sure how much this helped, but remember, trading is a very psychological game, and you have to be prepared. That fight or flight mode, that fear, that anxiety, that is no way to trade. You are going to just kill yourself. You want to be thinking with your thinking lobe, not your reaction. So that's all I got for you traders. Let's get that money.